Hello, welcome, good morning, welcome to a new program, welcome to a new class, a new opportunity for you to continue improving your English, and a new opportunity for me to continue enjoying my job. I enjoy my job. Fíjate la fortaleza de la J. Enjoy. Job. I enjoy my job. I enjoy my job. Cha. Enjoy my job. I enjoy my job. Disfruto mi trabajo. Me gusta mi trabajo. I like my job. I like my job. I enjoy my job. I enjoy my job. Cha. The project. Proyecto. Project manager. Jefe de proyecto. Project manager. El jefe de proyecto disfruta de su trabajo. The project manager enjoys his job. Cha. The project manager enjoys his job. But I'm not a project manager. I'm an English teacher, and I'm here to teach English. You're here to learn. It's an interesting symbiosis, teaching and learning. All right, let's begin. Learn to speak up. Let's continue where we left off yesterday. Page 195 on this book. Él es una persona muy egocéntrica. Okay. He's a very self-centered, autocentrada, persona autocentrada, self-centered. I'm a self-centered person. Yeah, my personal world. He's a very self-centered person. Self-centered. Egocentric exists. The expression egocentric, but that's a word, a technical word in the world of psychology. Egocentric. We say self-centered. Are you a self-centered person? Me, I'm a self-centered person. But I'm a good person too. Ella es una persona con mucha confianza en sí misma. Okay. She's a very self-confident person. Self-confident, autoconfiada. Self-confident. She's a very self-confident person. And she's not self-centered. Mucho self aquí. Y hay muchos con self. Self. She's not self-centered. She's self-confident. She believes in herself. She's not afraid. Yeah. She has self-assurance. Autoseguridad, seguridad en sí misma. She has self-assurance. She's a self-assured person. She's a self-confident person. She's not self-centered. And she's not selfish. No es egoísta, ni egocéntrica. She's not selfish, and she's not self-centered. But she's self-confident and self-assured. Autoasegurada. Con la seguridad en sí misma. She's self-assured. Yes, ¿por qué eres tan tímido? Why are you so self-conscious? Self-conscious. There are 4 words for tímido in English. Shy, which is the most common. Shy. S-H-Y, shy, como sky, camina la K por H, shy. Es un cielo tímido. It's a shy sky, shy. Timid, the same as in Spanish, timid, tímido, timid. Bashful. You say the 7 aninitos, el anito del tímido is bashful. Bashful is the type of shyness when the little girl hides behind her mother's dress. Se esconde detrás de la falda de su mamá cuando uno está, hello, tú serás Ginny, little Ginny. And she hides behind her. Luego es insoportable cuando hay confianza. But she's bashful. And finally, self-conscious. Self-autoconsciente. O sea, muy consciente de la impresión que puedes estar causando. Excesivamente consciente de ti mismo. Self-conscious, very self-conscious. Entonces, incide en timidez. Self-conscious, se usa mucho. So I use it a lot, self-conscious. Very self-conscious. Always worried about cómo me dirán, cómo me verán, how will they see me? That's self-conscious person. Conscious of himself, conscious of herself. It's a self-conscious person. Soy autónomo. I'm self-employed. Autoempleado. I don't have a boss. I don't have a company, but I'm self-employed. I'm a freelance English teacher. Freelance, curiosa expresión, libre lanza, con guión. Free-lance, escrito lance. Freelance, it's used a lot. A freelance teacher. Freelance. A freelance consultant. That person is self-employed. Self-employed. Él es una persona independiente que consigue las cosas por sus propios medios. Okay. He's a self-reliant person. A self-reliant person. Okay. To rely. I speak about this many, many times. To rely. I rely on Marta to take care of the lighting, the makeup, the props. These are the props, el attrezzo, the props. To take care of the camera, to take care of the acoustics, to take care of the climatology, the temperature. I can rely on her. She's a reliable person. Es persona digna de confianza, de fiar. I can rely on her. She's reliable. Reliable. Self-reliant. A self-reliant person doesn't necessarily need the help of others. Self-reliant. If I say to you, I need a new studio, a new TV studio. And you say, okay, boss, in 1 month. And in 1 month, we have a new TV studio. I don't need to tell you more information. You do it. You rely on yourself. You're self-reliant. Self-reliant. Una persona independiente que consigue las cosas por sus propios medios, recursos. All right. Self-reliant. No se hagas egoísta. Don't be selfish. Selfish. Self. Self is auto, uno mismo. Don't be selfish. Don't be so selfish. Recuerda, un marisco es shellfish. Un marisco egoísta sería a selfish shellfish. Shell. Shellfish, molusco egoísta. Yeah, selfish shellfish. All right. I suppose shellfish are selfish because everybody is selfish. You're selfish, I'm selfish in a certain way. Yes, el egoísmo ético. First, make sure you're happy. First, you try to be happy. And if you are successful and you're happy, then you're in a position, a better position to help others because you emanate positive vibrations if you're happy. If you're not happy, you emanate negativity, negative vibrations. So the first objective is you. That's called ethical egoism. It's a school of philosophy, ethical egoism. Selfish, the virtue of selfishness, selfish. Ella tiene una lengua muy afilada. She has a very sharp tongue. Sharp is puntiagudo. It's sharp. This is sharp, but also it's afilado. It's very sharp. Very sharp. And to sharpen the knife. Yeah. It's very sharp. Yeah. To split hairs. Take a hair and with the knife and the hair. To split hairs. Partir pelos. Un cabello, un pelo. That's to split hairs. No quiero partir cabellos con este tema. Quiere decir, no quiero rizar el rizo. Es una cosa fútil, tonto. I don't want to split hairs. No quiero rizar el rizo con esto. Estás rizando el rizo. You're splitting hairs. No es para tanto. You're splitting hairs. But in any case, this is sharp. Ella tiene una lengua afilada. She has a sharp tongue. Yeah, sharp tongue. No seas tímido. Don't be shy. Don't be self-conscious. Don't be bashful. Don't be timid. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Siente más shy que ninguno de los cuatro, de los otros tres. Eres muy hábil con la gente. You're very skillful with people. Skillful. Skill is habilidad. Talento, skill. Skill. You're very skillful with people. Yes. You know how to deal with people. You're a good leader. You know how to communicate with people. You know how to get people to do things for you that you want them to do because they want to do it. They enjoy working for you. And you don't pay them more than the other people in other companies, but they work hard for you. You're very skillful with people. You're very skillful with people. Gain fluency. Slowly but surely we are progressing through this book. But there's a long way to go. And we'll never finish it, probably. Probably. But this is the most powerful book in the world for improving your spoken English. If you follow the instructions, as I always say, el sermón de siempre, the same old sermon. Siempre insertamos old, el mismo viejo sermón, aunque no sea viejo, se dice así. The same old sermon. Yes, follow the instructions, and this book produces miracles. Don't follow the instructions, and this book is paper and plastic, all right? And that's it. Okay, we are on page 15, paragraph number 78. Page 15, paragraph, micro paragraph 78. I was able to get through the first 2 chapters before falling asleep. Yeah, I was reading a book. I was falling asleep. I was able to get through the first 2 chapters before falling asleep. Don't worry. Your new book is really interesting. I was just really tired when I got home last night. You see, Marta has published a book about photography for children, children's photography. And the book is hot off the press. Acaba de salir del horno su libro. It's hot off the press. Hot off the press, the printing press. And you can smell it. This book is new, all right? And I say, I'll read it. And I went home last night. She gave it to me yesterday. I went home last night, and I read the first chapter. I read the second chapter, but I started falling asleep. And I said to Marta this morning when I came, I was able to get through the first 2 chapters. O sea, abrirme paso a través de. Logré, I was able, pude abrirme paso a través de los primeros 2 capítulos, antes de quedarme dormido, before falling asleep. I was able to get through. Yeah, to get through. Yeah. Yeah. To get through, you say. And, I was able, eso es el bosque de lápices. This one comes through. To get through. Finally. All right, so I was able to get through the first two chapters before falling asleep. Before this preposition, falling, ing, before falling asleep. Don't worry. Your new book is really interesting, Marta. Your new book is really interesting. Yes. I was really tired when I got home last night. I got home last night at 9:30. I had a small bite to eat, and then I sat down to read Marta's book. But it wasn't because of the book. The book's really interesting, Marta. I was just very sleepy. I was very tired last night. Okay? So don't worry. I didn't really fall asleep because the book is boring. I fell asleep because I was really tired. I was able to get through the first 2 chapters before falling asleep. Don't worry. The book is really interesting. I was just really tired. Really 2 veces. I was just really tired when I got home last night. Don't worry. Your new book, tu nuevo libro es realmente interesante. Your new book is really interesting. I was just really tired. Estaba simplemente realmente cansado. I was just really tired when I got home. I was just really tired when I got home last night. All right? Memorize that paragraph and repeat it 5 times. Paragraph number 79. It doesn't happen very often, but we always need to be prepared just in case. It doesn't happen very often, but we always need to be prepared just in case. The last time there was a storm like the one last night was a year ago. It was worse than the one last night. So last night there was a storm. Tormenta. Last night there was a storm. Yeah. Yeah, you remember the story about the old lady in the house, in the telephone? You don't remember the story? All right. There was an old lady who was a widow. A widow. I think I've told this story. Una viuda, about 75, 80 years old. And she lives alone. Her husband died 2 years ago. And so for the last 2 years, she has been a widow. Last night, well, this happened 2 months ago. She was at home at night reading a book, sitting in an armchair in the living room, and next to her was a table, and there was a telephone on the table, and she was reading the book. Outside, the weather was terrible, a very powerful thunderstorm. The wind was blowing, the rain, it was a very violent thunderstorm. A little bit scary. But she was reading her book, and the telephone rang. She picked up the phone. Yeah, hello? Nothing. All right, she hung up and continued reading. About 1 minute later, ring, the telephone rang again. Okay. Hello? Nothing. Okay, now she's a little bit uncomfortable. So she started reading again, and after 1 minute, the telephone rang again. A third time. She looked at it, and finally she decided to answer it. Yes. And it was silent, but then she heard a distant moaning. The moan is gemidos en la distante. She was frightened. She hung up. She was worried. This time 1 minute, no. But she finally started reading again. But in 2 minutes, it rang again. The fourth time. And she was afraid, but finally she said, yes, who is it? And she heard a moaning again. And then she heard her name, Margaret. Margaret. Because her name was Margaret. Margaret. She recognized the voice of her dead husband. She hung up the telephone. She went to the wall and unplugged the telephone. Unplugged. And she didn't continue reading. The storm continued outside. And she went to bed, but she couldn't sleep. She slept a couple of hours. The moment the sun came up in the morning, she plugged in the telephone and called a taxi. A taxi came to her house. She got into the taxi and she said, to the cemetery, please. And the taxi took her to the cemetery. She got out of the taxi. She told the taxi driver to wait. She walked into the cemetery and started walking in the direction of her husband's grave. But she noticed that during the night, the storm had affected the cemetery. Some of the branches of the trees had fallen, etc. And as she approached the grave of her husband, she noticed one of the telephone poles had fallen. And the telephone wire had fallen right on top of her husband's grave. He was calling her from beyond, el más allá. So he took advantage of the storm in the telephone wire, el cable, and so he called his wife. Is that a true story, Marta? No, you don't believe it? Okay. So, but in this case, there was a storm, but a different storm. It doesn't happen very often. No ocurre muy a menudo, eh? It doesn't happen very often, but we always need to be prepared just in case. Hay que estar preparado de todas formas, por si acaso. Y no ocurre a menudo, pero it doesn't happen very often, but we always need to be prepared just in case, just in case. The last time there was a storm like this one, hubo una tormenta como esta. The last time there was a storm, the last time there was a storm like this one was a year ago. Perdona. The last time there was a storm like the one last night, la última vez que hubo una tormenta como la que hubo, como la de anoche, the last time there was a storm like the one last night, the last time there was a storm like the one last night was last year, or was a year ago. Hace ya un año, it was a year ago. It was worse than the one last night. Era peor que la de anoche. Okay. So the one a year ago was a terrible storm. It doesn't happen very often, but we always need to be prepared just in case. The last time there was a storm like the one last night was a year ago. Gramática interesante. The last time there was a storm like the one last night was dos veces, a year ago. The one last year was worse than the one last night, or it was. The last time there was a storm like the one last night was a year ago. It was worse than the one last night. Now, the one last night was a bad storm, a strong, powerful storm, but it wasn't as bad as the one a year ago. You understand? So, it doesn't happen very often, but we always need to be prepared just in case, just in case. The last time there was a storm like the one last night was a year ago. It was worse. De hecho, it was worse than the one last night. So the storm last year was worse. All right. Page 15, the last paragraph, number 80, paragraph number 80. When are you going to talk to your boss, huh? When are you going to talk to your boss? When are you going to? When are you going to talk to your boss? When are you going to talk to your boss? You told me you were going to talk to him a month ago. And you still haven't seen him. What are you waiting for? La esposa está impaciente con su marido. ¿Cuándo vas a hablar con tu jefe? Le vas a pedir un aumento. Llevas un mes diciendo que no vas. All right? When are you going to talk to your boss? You told me you were going to talk to him a month ago. Claro, pasado continuo. Me dijiste que ibas a hablar con él ya hace un mes. Y todavía no has hablado con él. O no le has visto. So we have the present tense, the past tense. Well, we have the present tense with going. Well, we have the going to future. Then we have the past continuous. And then we have the present perfect. When are you going to talk to your boss? You told me you were going to talk to him a month ago. And you still haven't, presente perfecto, and you still haven't seen him. What are you waiting for? ¿Qué estás esperando? ¿Para qué estás esperando? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You know, when are you going to talk to your boss? You told me you were going to talk to him a month ago, and you still haven't seen him. What are you waiting for? Pobre hombre. What are you waiting for? Yes. Shall we continue? How much time, Marta? Oh. Okay. We'll do one paragraph maybe if we have time. If not, I'll come back to this paragraph tomorrow. Paragraph number 81 on page 16. Why don't you come and join us this evening? Why don't you, Carmenchu? Why don't you come and join us? Why don't Why don't you, ¿por qué no te vienes y te unes a nosotros esta noche, en la velada esta noche? Why don't you come and join us this evening? Why don't you come and join us this evening? Why don't you come and join us? Join us. La Jota, join us, enjoy. Why don't you come and join us this evening? We'll be at the new bar on the corner of 42nd Street and Madison Avenue. Esto es en Nueva York. This is in Manhattan. I don't remember the name. Come and join us. I don't remember the name. I don't remember the name of the bar, but it's the bar on the corner of 42nd Street and Madison Avenue, Avenida Madison. It's on the corner. Why don't you come and join us this evening? We'll be at the new bar. Es un bar nuevo. We'll be at the new bar on the corner of 42nd Street and Madison Avenue. All right? I don't remember the name. Come and join us. Come and join us. Come and join us. And tomorrow, come and join me. See you tomorrow.